It's going to happen. You are going to face that stud drop ball pitcher. And contrary to belief, drop ball pitchers are the hardest pitchers to face as slap hitters. That's why we must be triple threats. But of course, let's kind of discuss if we actually had to slap off of a drop ball pitcher, what would we do? So if we are true triple threats, our first option would be to hit away off of a drop ball pitcher. But say for instance, we have a scenario that calls for slapping. Let's kind of dive into it. We're going to have to move up in the box. Now I know most slap hitters are like, oh my gosh, no, we're gonna be out of the box. But trust me, if we wanna hit this ball, we're gonna have to make some adjustments. So most pitchers are taught to break the ball at home plate. So if we start further back in the box, when they go to make contact, by the time we go to make contact, we are getting this pitch a little bit later. So the whole point of moving up in the box is making sure that we're getting this pitch before it hits breaking point. So the first thing, trust me, move up in the box so that we can get that ball before it hits breaking point. So now that we've moved up in the box, we're going to have to make sure that we start our steps a little bit later than we would usually do it. We also want to be a little bit slower on our steps because now that we have a pitch that's breaking down, we got to slow ourselves down so that we can make sure that we put this ball in play. Another tip is to make sure that we're getting this more out in front. So we want to have the mindset that we're going to make contact with this ball a little bit earlier than we actually think we should, so that we can ensure that we are getting this pitch before it breaks. So now that I'm in the front of the box, I'm moving a little bit slower. I am making sure that I'm making contact a little bit more out in front so that I can get this ball before it hits its breaking point. So along with making contact more out in front, we want to change our contact point. We want to think about hitting this contact point a little bit lower than we think we should, because a good drop ball pitcher, a heavy ball pitcher is going to have breaks. So where we actually visually see the ball actually is a little bit lower. So where we see it, we have to think about getting our bat barrel a little bit lower so that we can get on top of that drop ball as it's breaking down. So another thing to think about too is the best type of slap for a drop ball pitcher is going to be a hard slap, because trying to get a ball that's breaking hard and down and trying to get on top as it's breaking down and trying to make it bounce, that's just difficult. But if we are called to do it, everything that I just talked about in terms of slowing down, making sure you're hitting that ball in front will help you a little bit. But the best way to go about it is, if I could do a hard slap on a heavy ball or drop ball pitcher, that's going to be the best pair for a drop ball pitcher. So let's recap what we talked about. Of course, if we're a true triple threat, our first option is we're going to be to stand in. But if we're called to slap, here are some things that we want to do. One, we want to make sure we move up in the box. Also, we want to make sure that we slow our tempo down, because of course we have to make sure that we stay in this batter's box, but we are changing our mindset to hitting this ball a little bit more out in front than we usually think that we should, and changing our visual point to a little bit lower than we actually think, especially on someone who's a little bit heavier and has a good drop ball. This is going to be the best pair. Lastly, if you had a choice, always go with the hard slap, because that's going to be the easiest. But sometimes if we have to get this ball on the ground, all of the things that we talked about in this video for sure will help you get that ball on the ground. Good luck out there. So I want to hear how this works for you. Make sure you leave in the comments for me how it was facing a drop ball pitcher, and I will see you next time. Thank you.